The courier handed me divorce papers on a quiet Tuesday morning, right between folding laundry and planning dinner. 20 years of marriage, delivered in a manila envelope with coffee stains on the corner. My name is Eloise, and until that moment, I thought I knew exactly who I was. Devoted wife, mother of two, the woman who'd given up her dreams so her husband could chase his. Now I was about to become something else entirely. "You need to sign here," the courier said, tapping a yellow sticky note. I did, my hand steady despite the trembling in my chest. The moment he left, I sank into our imported Italian leather sofa, the one Xander had insisted we needed to maintain appearances, and began to read. The phone rang. Xander's name flashed on the screen. "I assume you've received the papers?" His voice was cold, practiced. "You couldn't even tell me to my face?" "Let's be practical about this, Eloise. You're being offered a fair settlement considering your contributions." I flipped through the pages. The numbers made my vision blur. "Fair? You're offering me less than 1% of what we built together." "Built together?" He laughed, that familiar condescending chuckle that had grown sharper over the years. "I built this company. You arranged dinner parties and decorated the house. I raised our children while you built everything. And you'll be compensated appropriately for being a housewife. Though honestly, you're lucky to get anything. Everyone knows you married me for money." The words hit like a slap. 20 years, Xander. I gave up law school for you." "Please," he scoffed. "You wouldn't have made it through the first semester. Face reality. You're a gold digger who's past her expiration date. Take the settlement. Don't embarrass yourself trying to fight this." The line went dead. I sat there, staring at our family photo on the wall. Gianna's high school graduation, Axel's first tennis trophy, the perfect family portrait, all bright smiles and coordinated outfits. My phone buzzed with a text from Olive. "Just heard. Coming over with wine and war plans. Don't do anything stupid." But I was already moving, climbing the stairs to our attic. Behind boxes of Christmas decorations and old tax returns sat a locked trunk. My fingers trembled as I entered the combination. Gianna's birthday. Inside was my secret: a laptop, textbooks, and a stack of practice bar exam papers. 3 weeks. I just needed 3 more weeks before taking the bar exam. 3 weeks before becoming the lawyer I'd always dreamed of being. For 6 years I'd studied in secret. Online classes during grocery runs, reading cases while Xander worked late, practice exams in the middle of the night. Every moment he'd thought I was planning charity galas or getting facials, I'd been preparing for this exact scenario. Another text from Xander. "My lawyer will contact yours, though I doubt you can afford one worth having." I touched the screen of the laptop, remembering all those nights of hidden study sessions, the mock trials I'd recorded myself practicing in whispers, the legal briefs I'd written and rewritten until my eyes burned. "You get nothing," he'd said. I opened the laptop, pulled up my carefully organised files of financial records, suspicious transactions, and questionable business dealings I'd been documenting for years. 6 years of law school had taught me one thing: evidence was everything. My phone buzzed again. "Olive, don't let him win." I texted back, "I won't." Then I began to type, my fingers flying across the keyboard as I drafted my first legal response. Xander thought he was facing a helpless housewife. He had no idea he was about to face a woman who'd spent 6 years becoming his worst nightmare. "You get nothing," he'd sneered. I whispered to myself, my voice steady and cold. "Then you won't know what hit you." "Sweetie, you look absolutely devastated," Olive said, pouring more wine. "It's perfect." I paused the mock trial video playing on my laptop. "You think he's buying it?" "Oh, honey, the whole country club thinks you're having a breakdown. Sandra from yoga actually asked if you needed casseroles." Olive settled deeper into my couch. "Though I still think this whole revenge by law degree thing is a bit extreme." "Watch this part," I said, rewinding the video. On screen, I delivered a flawless cross-examination about hidden assets. 6 years of practice had taught me how to make every word count. My phone buzzed. Gianna, Dad says you won't answer his lawyer's calls. I haven't, I replied, still processing everything. Mom, please don't make this difficult. I set the phone down, my heart aching. Gianna had always been Daddy's girl, but this distance hurt more than I'd expected. You can't tell her yet? Olive asked. If Gianna knows, Xander knows. I need 3 more weeks. My laptop pinged with an email notification. Another message from Xander's cloud account automatically forwarding to my hidden email address. He still hadn't figured out I had access to everything. Look at this, I said, opening the email. Another late-night message from Zid about offshore transfers. Olive leaned in. Is that his assistant, the one who's always at the charity events? Surreal. She's been helping him move money around for months. I added the email to my evidence folder, and she's not just his assistant anymore. Jesus, Eloise, how long have you known? Long enough to document everything? I pulled up another folder. Every transaction, every meeting, every hotel reservation. The doorbell rang. I quickly closed the laptop. Remember, I whispered to Olive, I'm devastated and barely functioning. It was Axel, my 17-year-old son, looking uncomfortable in his father's expensive jacket. Mum, can we talk? Of course, sweetheart. I made my voice shake slightly. Are you hungry? I can make... Dad's lawyer wants to know why you haven't responded to the settlement offer. He wouldn't meet my eyes. They're getting impatient. I'm just trying to understand everything. I wrapped my arms around myself, playing the part of the fragile soon-to-be ex-wife. Axel shifted, then pulled out his phone. Dad has a new number. He doesn't know I know about it. He showed me the screen. And there's something else. I found some weird files on his laptop when I was fixing it last month. My heart swelled with pride and pain. Axel, you don't have to... Yes, I do. His voice was firm. What he's doing isn't right. After Axel left, Olive watched me add the new information to my files. You're really going to do this? Take him on in court yourself? Watch this, I said, pulling up the court's electronic filing system. With steady fingers, I typed out my response to Xander's divorce petition. At the bottom, where it asked for attorney information, I entered my own name. When this hits the system tomorrow morning, I said, Xander and his fancy lawyer are going to realise they're not facing some helpless housewife. They'll try to discredit you, Olive warned, make you look desperate. Let them try. I hit submit. I've spent 6 years preparing for this moment. While Xander thought I was getting manicures and planning parties, I was studying case law and practicing depositions. My phone lit up with a text from Xander. My lawyer needs your lawyer's contact information. Stop playing games. I smiled, thinking of the notification he'd receive tomorrow morning. Oh, he'll have it soon enough. Olive topped off our wine glasses. You know what scares me? You're enjoying this. Not enjoying, I corrected, closing my laptop. Surviving, there's a difference. Later that night, after Olive left, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, practicing my courtroom face. Cool, composed, competent, everything Xander never thought I could be. My phone buzzed one last time. A court confirmation email. Notice of appearance filed successfully. Tomorrow, the real game would begin. And for the first time in 20 years, I wasn't just a player, I was holding all the cards. The mediator's office was all mahogany and privilege, exactly the kind of place Xander loved. He sat across the table with his lawyer, Reese, both wearing identical smirks as I walked in alone. "Where's your attorney?" Reese asked, adjusting her Cartier watch. I set my briefcase on the table. "Present." Xander's laugh filled the room. "Is this a joke?" "Mrs. Morgan," the mediator began, "are you saying you're representing yourself?" "Actually," I said, pulling out my newly minted bar card, "I'll be representing myself as counsel, and it's Ms. Morgan now." The smirk fell from Xander's face. "What is this?" "This," I said, sliding copies of my first motion across the table, "is a request for a forensic audit of all marital assets, including offshore accounts and shell corporations." Reese snatched the paper, her eyes widening as she read. This is ridiculous. My client's finances are completely transparent. Really? I opened my laptop. Should we discuss the Cayman transfers? Or perhaps the shell company registered under your daughter's name, Reese? The one that received consulting fees of $250,000 last quarter? The colour drained from both their faces. You can't prove anything, Xander snapped. Actually, I can, Exhibit A. I turned my laptop around, showing a series of transactions. Your mistake was using the family cloud account for business. I had access to everything. The mediator leaned forward, suddenly very interested. This is harassment, Reese declared, standing up. We're done here. Sit down, I said quietly. We haven't even gotten to the good part yet. The door burst open. Gianna stormed in, her face flushed with anger. Mum, what are you doing? Gianna, you can't be here, Xander said quickly. This is a private meeting. Private? I raised an eyebrow. Like the private emails about moving assets before filing for divorce, or private like the hotel receipts with your assistant? You're trying to ruin him, Gianna shouted at me. Dad told me what you're doing, trying to take everything he built. Gianna, I kept my voice steady. Ask your father about the trust fund he emptied last month, the one he set up for your college. Don't listen to her, Xander interrupted. She's desperate. I pulled out another document. The trust transfer document, signed by you 3 weeks ago. Would you like to explain where that money went? Gianna's eyes darted between us. Dad? This meeting is over, Reese announced, gathering her papers. Fine, I said, standing. I'll see you in court when the audit is approved. Oh, and Reese, you might want to advise your client about the penalties for hiding assets during divorce proceedings. I believe the statute calls it fraud upon the court. As they rushed out, Gianna lingered. Mum, I know you think I'm the villain here, I said softly. But ask yourself why Dad's running scared from simple financial transparency. Later that afternoon, Axel found me in my home office. I heard about the meeting, he said, sitting down. Gianna's pretty upset. I know, I rubbed my temples. But this isn't about hurting your father. It's about truth. Here, Axel said, sliding a USB drive across my desk. Dad's got 3 phones. These are the backup files from the one he thinks nobody knows about. I stared at the drive. You don't have to do this. Yeah, I do. He stood up. I saw what he did to your law school acceptance letters back then, how he made you think you weren't smart enough. My throat tightened. You remember that? I remember everything, Mum. He headed for the door, then turned back. Make him pay. That evening, my phone lit up with a court notification. The forensic audit had been approved. Within hours, Xander's carefully constructed house of cards would begin to fall. A text from Olive appeared. Just heard from country club gossips. Xander's having a meltdown at the board meeting. You okay? I touched my bar card, still new and crisp in my wallet. Better than okay, I replied. I'm just getting started. The truth was, I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for that young woman who'd been told she wasn't smart enough, for my children's stolen trust funds, and for every lie Xander had wrapped in expensive gifts and false promises. The audit would begin tomorrow, and with it, his perfect world would start to crumble. The upscale restaurant was Zuriel's choice. She probably thought the public setting would protect her, make me less likely to cause a scene. She was wrong about a lot of things. Mrs. Morgan, she said, sliding into the booth across from me. Her designer outfit screamed new money. This needs to stop. I took a sip of water. Which part? The audit? The investigation into offshore accounts? Or the part where you helped my husband hide marital assets? You're making dangerous accusations. She leaned forward, lowering her voice. Xander is willing to be generous if you drop this nonsense. Generous? I pulled out a folder. Like this $40,000 consulting fee you received last month? The one you forgot to report on your taxes? Her perfectly maintained composure cracked. How did you... I have copies of everything, Zuriel. Every transaction, every email, every hotel receipt. I slid the folder toward her. The IRS would be very interested in your creative accounting. Are you threatening me? I'm offering you a choice. Tell me everything, or become collateral damage in Xander's downfall. She glanced around the restaurant, then back at me. He'll destroy me. He'll try, but I can protect you, if you're honest with me. Zuriel's hands trembled as she reached for her water. What do you want to know? Everything, starting with when the affair began. It wasn't just an affair. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through messages. He needed someone he could trust with the transfers, someone who understood discretion. And understood hotel room service. Her face flushed. That came later. After he started moving the bigger amounts offshore, the waiter approached. I ordered coffee. Zuriel ordered a double vodka. I want it all on record, I said, placing a digital recorder on the table. Under oath. He'll kill me professionally. He's going down anyway. The only question is whether you go down with him. She stared at the recorder for a long moment. Fine, but I want immunity from any criminal charges. Already arranged. I pressed record. State your name and... The restaurant door swung open. Gianna walked in, stopped dead when she saw us. Her face went from shock to fury in seconds. You're meeting with his assistant? She stormed over to our table. What are you trying to do, Mum? Gianna, please, tell her, Zuriel interrupted, her voice surprisingly firm. Tell her about the trust fund. Gianna froze. What about my trust fund? Your father emptied it, Zuriel said, taking a long drink. Along with your brothers. Used it to cover some questionable investments. You're lying. Show her the transfers, Zuriel told me. Show her what her father really is. My hands shook as I pulled out the bank statements. Sit down, sweetheart. Gianna sank into the booth, her face pale as she read. This can't be real. It gets worse, Zuriel said, and began to talk. For the next hour she laid it all out. The offshore accounts, the manipulated books, the threats to anyone who questioned him. Gianna sat silent, tears rolling down her face. Why? She finally asked Zuriel. Why are you telling us this? Because your mother's right. He's going down, and I'm tired of carrying his secrets. Zuriel pulled out a small USB drive. This has everything, including an audio recording you should hear. She pressed play. Xander's voice filled our quiet corner. The money's clean. They'll never figure it out unless that bitch is hiding a badge under her apron. Gianna stood abruptly. I need air. After she left, Zuriel looked at me with tired eyes. I'll give you my official statement tomorrow, everything on record. Thank you. Don't thank me. She gathered her things. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because he promised me the same things he promised you 20 years ago, and I finally realised he never keeps his promises. That night I sat in my office, transcribing Zuriel's recording. My phone buzzed with a text from Gianna. I'm staying at Aunt Olive's tonight. I need time to process. I understand, I wrote back. I love you. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. I love you too, Mum. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I touched the screen, letting tears fall for the first time since this began. Sometimes victory tastes like salt. The courtroom fell silent as I approached the witness stand. Xander sat there, perfectly pressed suit and practised smile, looking more like a CEO than a man about to be exposed. Mr. Morgan, I began, could you explain this audio recording to the court? His smile didn't waver as his own voice filled the room. The money's clean. They'll never figure it out unless that bitch is hiding a badge under her apron. Objection, Reese shot up. This recording was obtained without... Your Honour, I interrupted, the recording was legally obtained by a third party in a single consent state. The judge nodded. Overruled. Continue. Mr. Morgan, who were you referring to as that bitch? Obviously taken out of context, he said smoothly. A private conversation. About hiding money from your wife? I pulled up bank statements on the courtroom screen. These offshore transfers, for instance. My client's business dealings are complex, Reese interjected. Mrs. Morgan is clearly staging some sort of revenge fantasy. These aren't business dealings, I said, clicking through documents. These are marital assets deliberately hidden and transferred through shell companies. Would you like to explain the company registered under our daughter's name? Xander's smile cracked. You don't understand business. I understand fraud. I placed another document on the projector. Like this email where you instructed Zuriel to backdate transactions to predate our separation. The gallery murmured. I caught glimpses of his board members in the audience, their faces growing stormy. Your Honour, Reese stood again, this is becoming a circus. No, I cut in, this is becoming a criminal investigation, and speaking of investigations, I turned back to Xander. Could you explain why you accessed our children's trust funds without authorization? His face reddened. Those funds were in irrevocable trusts, meaning you committed fraud when you transferred them. The courtroom door opened. Axel walked in, pale but determined. Your Honour, I said, I call my next witness. Xander's eyes widened as his son took the stand. Axel, don't... Please state your name, I said softly. Axel Morgan. His voice shook slightly. And... I helped my father delete financial documents from his computer. I didn't know what they were at the time. Tears rolled down his cheeks as he described helping his father clean up computer files, thinking it was routine maintenance. He said it was just old stuff, Axel continued, but then I found copies, statements showing where my college fund went. Reese leaped up. This is inappropriate, using a minor child. Mr. Morgan, the judge interrupted, did you liquidate your children's trust funds? Xander's perfect facade finally cracked. It was temporary, a business necessity. Yes or no? Oh, yes. The gallery erupted in whispers. I noticed several board members leaving, phones already at their ears. No further questions, I said, returning to my seat. During the recess, Olive found me in the hallway. You're not just divorcing him anymore, she warned. You're burying him. Will that be enough? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with breaking news. Morgan Financial CEO suspended pending internal investigation. Xander burst out of the conference room, face purple with rage. You planned this. You knew the board was watching. No, I said calmly. You did this. Every lie, every theft, every betrayal. I just exposed it. You're destroying everything I built. You destroyed it yourself. I'm just making sure you can't hide the wreckage. Reese appeared, looking grim. Xander, we need to talk. The board just called an emergency vote of no confidence. He grabbed my arm as I turned to leave. You think you've won? This isn't over. Remove your hand, I said quietly, or I'll add assault to the growing list of charges. He let go like I'd burned him. As I walked away, I heard him shouting about appeals and countersuit threats. But we both knew the truth. His carefully constructed empire was crumbling, and all his money couldn't buy back his reputation. My phone buzzed again. A text from Gianna. Is it true about Dad's suspension? Yes, I replied. Are you okay? 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Finally. No, but I'm glad the truth is out. I touched the screen, remembering the young woman who'd once believed in fairy tales about powerful men. That woman was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, someone who understood that justice sometimes requires a steady hand and a willingness to burn it all down. Mum? Gianna's voice trembled on my doorstep. Can we talk? I opened the door wider, taking in her red-rimmed eyes and rumpled clothes, so unlike her usual polished appearance. Of course, sweetheart, come in. She walked straight to our kitchen, the place where we'd had so many late-night conversations over hot chocolate when she was younger. Now she stood there, clutching her purse like a shield. I'm pregnant, she whispered. The world tilted slightly. Oh, honey, Dad already knows. She sank into a kitchen chair. He offered to take care of it, said he knew a discreet clinic, would handle everything quietly. No one would ever know. My hands shook as I put the kettle on. When did he tell you this? Last week, right after the court hearing. She pulled out her phone, showing me the texts. He said it would be better for everyone, that a baby would complicate things right now. What do you want? I asked softly. She looked up, surprised. What? What do you want to do? It's your choice, Gianna. Not his, not mine. Yours. Her voice broke. I don't know. But when Dad started talking about handling it, about keeping it quiet, it felt wrong, like all his other secrets. I set 2 mugs of tea on the table. Did I ever tell you about when I got pregnant with you? She shook her head. I was in my first year of law school. Your father said the same things, that it would complicate everything, that we should handle it quietly. I wrapped my hands around my mug. But I wanted you, even though it meant giving up school, even though it terrified me. I wanted you. He tried to make that choice for you too. It's his pattern, sweetheart, controlling things, managing appearances, making choices for others while pretending it's for their own good. Gianna's phone buzzed. Another text from Xander. She turned it face down without reading it. The full audit came back, I said quietly. Would you like to know what it found? She nodded. Your father didn't just take your trust fund. He's been moving retirement funds, pension plans, everything he could grab into offshore accounts under fake names. People are going to lose their life savings because of him. God! She pressed her hands to her face. How did I not see it? Because he didn't want you to. Just like he doesn't want you making your own choice now. Her phone buzzed again. And again. He won't stop calling, she said. Keeps saying we need to resolve this situation before it becomes public. Block him, I said. Take some time. Think about what you want. What about college? My future? Whatever you decide, I'll help you. You can stay here, take online classes, anything you need, but it has to be your choice. She started crying then, real tears, not the delicate ones her father had taught her were acceptable in public. I moved around the table and held her like I used to when she was small. My phone rang, Xander's number. Don't, Gianna said. Please. I answered on speaker. Yes? Where is she? He demanded. This situation needs to be handled now before... Before what? I cut in. Before people find out your daughter needs support instead of silence. Don't you dare lecture me about support. I'm trying to protect her future. No, I said, watching Gianna's face harden. You're trying to protect yourself. Again. Put her on the phone. I'm here, Dad, Gianna said, her voice stronger than I'd expected. And I'm not letting you handle this. I'm making my own choice. Gianna, be reasonable. Like you were reasonable with Mum's law school, or my trust fund, or all those people's retirement savings. Silence. Don't call me again, she said, not until you understand what you've done. She ended the call. We sat in the quiet kitchen, the weight of decades of manipulation finally lifting. Mum, she whispered, I think I want to keep it. I squeezed her hand. Then that's what we'll do. My phone lit up with a text. See you in court. I looked at my daughter, so strong despite everything, and typed back my only reply. Yes, you will. Because some battles aren't just about winning. They're about breaking cycles of control that span generations. And I was ready to end this one, once and for all. The final hearing drew a crowd. Reporters lined the courthouse steps, and the gallery was packed with faces I recognized from charity galas and country club events. How quickly the mighty fall. Xander sat with Reese, his perfect image finally cracking. His tie was slightly crooked, his hair showing traces of grey he usually dyed away. Behind him, 3 federal agents watched with predatory focus. Your Honour, Reese began, in light of recent developments, my client would like to propose a private settlement. Denied, the judge cut in. Given the evidence of financial fraud, this proceeding will be public record. I stood, smoothing my blazer. Your Honour, the forensic audit revealed systematic theft of marital assets, including retirement funds belonging to employees of Morgan Financial. Objection, Reese shouted. Those allegations are part of a separate criminal investigation. Which began because of evidence uncovered in this divorce proceeding, I countered. The funds were marital assets, illegally transferred to avoid division. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Morgan, would you like to address these allegations? Xander stood, straightening his tie. Your Honour, My wife is clearly pursuing a vindictive— The evidence, I interrupted, projecting documentation onto the courtroom screen. 68 separate transfers to offshore accounts, 15 shell companies, and one very interesting recording from your former assistant, Zuriel. The colour drained from his face as her sworn testimony played through the courtroom speakers, detailing every transaction, every cover-up, every threat she'd received to stay quiet. Your Honour, Reese tried again, we request a brief recess to— To what? I asked. Hide more assets, threaten more witnesses, perhaps pressure your daughter about her pregnancy again? Gasps rippled through the gallery. Xander's hands clenched into fists. Enough, the judge declared. Based on the overwhelming evidence of financial misconduct, this court finds in favour of the plaintiff. Mrs. Morgan is awarded 50% of all marital assets, including those currently held in offshore accounts. I wasn't done. And the vacation house? The property in question was purchased with misappropriated funds, the judge continued. Full ownership is awarded to Mrs. Morgan. Xander exploded. That house is mine. You can't— Mr. Morgan, the judge warned, control yourself or I'll have you removed. As if on cue, the federal agents moved closer. Furthermore, the judge continued, this court is referring all evidence of financial fraud to the appropriate authorities. Mr. Morgan, I suggest you contact Criminal Defence Counsel immediately. The gavel fell with finality. As people began filing out, I heard phones buzzing with news alerts. CEO found guilty of mass financial fraud in divorce hearing. Reese approached me, her designer heels clicking on the marble floor. You didn't have to destroy him. No, I agreed. He did that himself. I just made sure everyone saw it. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Mrs. Morgan, how does it feel to expose one of the biggest financial frauds of the year? How long were you gathering evidence? Did you really get your law degree in secret? Before I could answer, Gianna appeared at my side. She looked at the reporters, then at me. Mum, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, I'm proud of you. The cameras went wild. Tomorrow's headlines would probably read, The Housewife Who Barbecued Her Husband in Court. As we walked down the steps, Gianna squeezed my hand. You were right about everything, but I don't know if I'll ever forgive you, or Dad. She touched her slightly rounded belly. This baby's going to grow up with a lot of complicated stories about their grandfather. We'll tell them the truth, I said, that sometimes the people we love disappoint us, but that doesn't make us stop loving them. My phone buzzed. Axel had sent a link to a viral tweet. Watch this badass mum destroy her fraudster ex using the law degree she got in secret. Queen behaviour. Gianna looked over my shoulder and laughed. You're trending, Mum. Wonderful, I muttered. Just what I always wanted. As we reached the car, I saw Xander being led out in handcuffs, federal agents flanking him. Our eyes met briefly. In that moment, I saw not the powerful man who'd controlled my life for 20 years, but someone small, someone who'd built an empire on lies and finally run out of places to hide. I turned away first. Some victories don't need to be watched. The beach house windows caught the sunset perfectly, painting the living room in shades of orange and gold. I sat on the deck, case files spread across the table, while the waves provided background music to my work. Another pro bono? Olive asked, setting down 2 glasses of wine. Woman from the legal clinic. Her husband's pulling the same tricks Xander did. I held up a bank statement. He's not nearly as clever about hiding it, though. Look at you, becoming the divorce avenger. My phone buzzed. A text from Axel. Mum, made Dean's List again. Also, my corporate law professor used your case as an example today. Kind of weird being the only one in class who knew the brilliant mystery lawyer wears SpongeBob socks. Your son's following in your footsteps, Olive said, reading over my shoulder. As long as he's happy. I typed back a quick congratulations, adding extra heart emojis just to embarrass him. The screen door slid open. Gianna waddled out, 7 months pregnant and glowing. Mail came. There's another interview request from that legal magazine. Throw it with the others. They're calling you a revolutionary. She settled into a chair, hands resting on her belly. The housewife who changed divorce law. I just did what needed doing. Dad's sentencing is next week, she said quietly. The waves filled our silence. Xander had pleaded guilty to multiple fraud charges, hoping for a lighter sentence. His empire had crumbled completely. The company dissolved, the board members scattered, Reese under investigation for complicity. Will you go? Olive asked. No. Gianna stroked her belly. I wrote him a letter instead, told him about his granddaughter, about how I hope he uses his time inside to become someone she could be proud of. My phone lit up again. A text from Zuriel. Testimony done. Witness protection program starts tomorrow. Thank you for everything. You saved more than just yourself, Olive noted. Zuriel, the employees whose pensions he stole. They saved themselves. I just gave them a chance to speak up. A car crunched on the gravel driveway. Professor Clayton, my old law school mentor, emerged carrying files. Eloise, he called out, got those cases you asked for, and... He pulled out a newspaper. Thought you might want to see this. The headline read, Morgan Financial Fraud Leads to New Divorce Disclosure Laws. They're calling it the Morgan Rule, he said proudly. Mandatory financial transparency in high net worth divorces. You did that. We did that, I corrected. I wouldn't have made it through law school without your help. Speaking of help, Gianna interjected, Mum's been offering free legal counsel at the women's shelter, already caught 3 cases of hidden assets. Professor Clayton beamed. Always knew you'd be a force for change. As the sun dipped lower, more cars arrived. My Thursday night study group. Other women going through divorces, learning their financial rights. I'd started it after my case went viral, teaching them what to look for, how to protect themselves. Ready for class? Olive asked. I gathered my files, watching the women file onto the deck. Some brought snacks, others brought stories, all brought determination. They weren't just learning law, they were learning their own worth. Before we start, one woman said, I have news. Remember those transfers I was worried about? I found them, all of them. The group erupted in cheers. Another small victory, another chain broken. My phone buzzed one last time. An email from Xander's prison account. I underestimated you. I'm sorry. I deleted it without responding. Some apologies come too late to matter. Mum, Gianna called. We're ready to start. I looked at my daughter, strong and determined despite everything. At Olive, my constant support. At these women, each fighting their own battles but no longer fighting alone. All right, ladies, I said, opening my laptop. Let's talk about hidden assets and how to find them. The waves crashed behind us as the last light faded. Sometimes karma doesn't knock. Sometimes she files motions, uses subpoenas like sabres, and smiles sweetly as she wins. And sometimes she teaches other women to do the same. That's the thing about justice. It's not just about winning your own fight. It's about helping others win theirs too.